Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Master the NEC, where we talk about the National Electrical Code and all things electrically related. On today's episode, we're going to talk about our new program called Fast Trax. Now, Fast Trax is different than our ultimate guide to the National Electrical Code, because in the ultimate guide, we talk about everything about the National Electrical Code for 90 full days. I mean, we have a weekly session of 2 hours where we actually interact and discuss the previous week's sessions, as well as what the students have done over the week. Now, that's a full intensive course that is designed to take you from the beginning to the end, or cradle to grave, if you will, of the National Electrical Code. We have a lot of exams, a lot of quizzes, a lot of pop quizzes, a lot of tests and things like that, and we dig into the weeds. Well, the Fast Track program is a shorter duration program. It's designed for people that really don't have the time to do the weekly classes, and they've been working with the code for years, and maybe they're licensed in another state and they come to a different state and they just need to brush up on their skills at finding things in the NEC or learning some calculations, but they really don't need to learn the in-depth knowledge, because that's what the Ultimate Guide does. But the Fast Track can be that quickie access to a lot of code information, like how to do calculations. But one of the key things is the actual tests and quiz database that allows you to get a lot of quizzes, a lot of tests. You can time your tests. You can do the practice tests. You can do the final exams. There's section unit quizzes and things like that. So it's similar to the Ultimate Guide, but it's a shorter duration. It also doesn't have that one-on-one time with me. It's a self-paced program, whereas the Ultimate Guide is a little more interactive. Again, every week we do a 2-hour session where I answer questions and things like that. But you might not need that. So the Fast Track is about half the price of the Ultimate Guide course, but it's really geared to those people that just need to pass the exam in a short amount of time, weeks. Okay, so that's what that program is all about. Now, I thought I'd give you a sneak peek on what the program looks like. Again, it's called the Fast Track program, and this is what it looks like. So let's say that you go online. You're going to see that it's made up of multiple sections. Inside of each of these sections, you're going to see units. Now, these units for this Fast Track program have been selected specifically for this program. Okay, so we're talking about box and enclosure calculations, raceway and conductors and raceway field calculations. All of those good things are held inside of this section. In this section, we're going to go over the general provisions for one-family dwellings, specific provisions, and we're also going to get into load calculation. That'd be optional and standard load calc, because you need to know that for an exam. We'll also do the same thing, load calculations. There's some videos in here. There's some podcasts in here. You'll go through everything you need to know in order to do multifamily dwelling calculations and some of the code rules that are applicable to that. We do the same thing for commercial, special occupancies, areas, and equipment. All of that's covered in this area here, which is, again, we're going to talk about things like hazardous locations and things like that. So that's the stuff that we want to make you aware of. And you will have some tests at the end of each one of these. So there's a lot of information. So when you go through this at your own pace under the Fast Tracks program, you really will start to understand some of the things. So let's give you an example. If I go into healthcare and I go into the reading assignment, and there's a lot of reading involved in these programs, I will tell you the Ultimate Guide to the NEC is a lot more reading, but the Fast Track also has an awful lot of reading that you have to do. For example, if you want to learn about nursing homes, limited care facilities, for the exam, there's a lot of code references in here. Okay, so now let me show you some of the features here. Okay, so one of the things that I like to show people is that, let's say in the Fast Track program, and we'll talk about the console over here on the right here in a minute. Let's say that I really am tired. I just don't want to read it, but I'd like to listen to it while I'm following along, because sometimes, let's be honest, there's many cases where people use the senses. In other words, they can really understand something better by hearing it than actually seeing it and trying to read it. Now, if you put those two things together, then we call that ballistic training. Okay? Where when we do this ballistic training, we're not only getting the audio feedback, we're getting the visual we're really following along, and we trigger those senses that allows us to remember important things. Now, we've been doing this for almost 20 years when I've taught courses all over the country. This ballistic approach to learning the National Electrical Code is what allows you to retain it. That's why I'm able to quote references all the time wherever I'm in a seminar or teaching a course somewhere. It's based on repetition and why we do certain things the way we do. The program is geared toward that. Now, we partnered with Cengage. They're the ones that have the backbone of this internal LMS system. We're excited about that partnership because they really bring some great tools for the student. Now, they have thousands of documents, different publications, hundreds of publications with specific mind. Not all of them have the MindTap program involved in it like this, but they have a lot of things that can be utilized. So we're excited to be partnering with Cengage. Now, if you go back and look here, now let's say you are somebody that just does not want to actually read all this information. Well, you've got this little feature here called Listen to the Page. Okay, so I can click this and watch what happens.
General, Nursing Home and Limited Care Facility. Requirements in 517.40, parenthesis, C, in parenthesis, through 517.44 do not apply to freestanding buildings used as nursing homes and limited care facilities, provided that.
Okay, so it is a systematic approach, listening, reading, following the highlight as it goes across the screen. You retain it. Now, what about the speech? Now, obviously, that is something that's customizable, and I wanted to show you that because some people want to see it differently. So right here, you have what's called Read Speaker. If you click on that, now currently I'm listening to the Australian male voice, but I can change it to British. You can also change the speeds as well here. Okay, so let's just go on and do this. And now let's hear what it sounds now.
General. Nursing home and limited care facility. Requirements in 517.40, parentheses, C, N parentheses through 517.44 do not apply to freestanding buildings used as nursing homes and limited care facilities.
Okay, so you have total customization. You can slow the cadence of the voice down, or you can speed it up, whatever your preference is to help you better follow along. So that's a pretty neat feature. Now let's it really do need to look at some of the features here real quick. When you're in the National Electrical Code, we know that generally you use Article 100. That's going to give us definitions. And there's certain verbiage that you would follow under the manual of style or the NFPA glossary of terms. But sometimes you don't understand some other words or phrases that are inside the National Electrical Code. And usually what we do is we gear people to the Merriam-Webster's dictionary for general terms that are very broad, not NEC specific, but generally broad terms. So let's do that for a second. So the neat thing about Cengage is they actually have the Merriam-Webster's dictionary integrated in your student console. So let's say here, what if I wanted to do anesthesia? I can do this and hold it over that like that. Okay. And then I can go to read text. Oh, no, what we want to do, go to dictionary. Check this out. Anesthesia, loss of sensation with or without loss of consciousness. Okay, that means like for anesthesia, when you're getting a tooth filled or something, they're going to give you anesthesia. You're still awake, but they fix the tooth and you feel no pain. Okay, so no surgical treatment requiring general anesthesia is offered. Okay, all right, so those are the type of things that you need to know about, and that's where the Merriam-Webster can come in and give you that nice quick definition. Another feature that's pretty neat over here is the glossary. You click on the glossary. Now, one of the key things, let's look at something here. Definitions are critical. You need to understand definitions. But you also need to understand the glossary of the different terms so that it clicks in your mind when you start seeing these words, these phrases, that you truly understand what you're getting. And so as you learn the NEC, those things are going to be critically important to you. So one of the unique features they have built into this program, which I think is neat, is, for example, if I just go to B, bathroom, area including a sink, a toilet, and a shower, tub, or similar fixture. Well, we know that the trigger here is a sink. Everything else to it, like a toilet, a shower, a tub, and all those type of things, are in addition. So to be a bathroom, I have to have a sink or a basin and any of the other items like a shower, a tub, a toilet in order to be able to have a bathroom. So it's pretty neat. You just kind of go through these and you read them. Classified locations, class 1 location, then you know that it's flammable gas or vapors. Class 2 location, combustible dust. Class 3 location, easily ignitable fibers or flyings. So it's really important to understand these terms. So another neat thing you have down here on the right is these flashcards. Now, of course, you're going to have flashcards as you move through the program. As you do the different units, there'll be flashcards that you can work on. But from now and then, I like to jump into the flashcards to test myself, to look at the flashcards. It's that memory you're trying to build. You're trying to build those things that you can see at a glance. Because remember, when you're taking an exam, it's all about the time and the ability of you to maneuver through the code book and find the answer. Now, there's certain things you're just going to know, but there's a lot of other things you might not, and you need to move through it. But if you start going over the glossary, you start going over the flashcards, you start learning all of these terms, then what you're going to find is that when you're taking a test, it becomes more natural, your stress level reduces down, and you can move through that test quickly, and you learn how to find things. So the fast track works on those principles. All right, so let's go back to the browser. And of course, we got healthcare facility. Now, what I recommend people to do is you'll see that there's a flip card, and let's go back so I can do it. So if it's a healthcare facility, over your course, you'll learn that it's a building where medical, dental, psychiatric, nursing, or similar care is provided. So you've got all these flip cards that you can move through. Patient care space, if you're in this unit, by the time you finish this unit, you'll know that a patient care space is any space intended to be used to examine or treat patients. Look, don't think on your first pass that because you see a flip card and you don't know the answer to that you're like, oh no, I'm struggling. No, that's the beauty of the flip card, is flip it over, read it, flip it again, go through them again. You'd be surprised. There's that old thing where, when you whisper in somebody's ear and they have to tell somebody and they tell somebody and they tell somebody, by the time it gets to the end, the story's totally changed. Well, the same concept here is you can see something, you can read it, and a couple seconds later, you literally forgot what you read. That short-term memory is not able to absorb it. Okay, so you do this over and over again. That's why you can take the same flashcards and do them over and over and over again, even though they might be the same cards. Shuffle the deck, redo it. There's hundreds of them in this program, and it'll allow you to retain that information. So that is a neat feature as well. All right, so another neat feature when you get into the program is called Connect Yard. Now, Connect Yard is a pretty neat feature because this allows you to stay in touch with every student that's in your program. Now, if, for example, I'm in this Fast Tracks program for it, so look, here's the deal. When you become a Fast Tracks program purchaser and you become a user and you get into our program, you are not going to get the benefit of that weekly 2-hour session like the Ultimate Guide has. Now, that's a 90-day course where I'm heavily involved with the students. But you do get all of the access to the Connect Yard, whereas you can ask questions, you can interact, and I do answer questions on there. So while you don't get the live sessions, sometimes you just want an answer to a question. Maybe you read something, you didn't understand it, and you want to utilize it that way. So you can use Connect Yard for that, to send us questions, send us emails, because when you put something in the Connect Yard, it actually sends you an email to let me know that you asked a question or you did something. Let me show you another neat feature. So not only about the Connect Yard, so we'll close this real quick and I'll show you, because these are some of the examples I've done for other people. Let me shut this down. So let's say that I'm not sure what this means. Let's just say I'm not sure. So I can highlight this, and I'll just highlight it in pink. All right. Now watch this. Now if I go, it's highlighted in pink. Now, if I highlight that because I want to remember it, it'll make a note. Obviously, it's a highlighted. But if I click on it again and I go down here and I say add note, and I can say ask Paul, okay? We'll say ask Paul about anesthesia. All right, so now I'm sure I spelled that wrong. So there you go. So ask Paul about that. Now I click save. All right, so it makes a little note. Now, what happens is you can actually, when you're done this session, okay, let's come back to me. So you've made these notes, as you're going through there, something came to mind right then and there that you didn't understand. If you wait and do it later, you'll forget about it, or you'll forget distinctively what you wanted to know the answer to. So that's another powerful thing that's in this Cengage platform, is that you can make that note, write that note instantly, right there, note it. Now let me show you where it puts these notes. This is pretty neat. So in here you have something called Study Hub. Now in the Study Hub, it'll put your notes, like right now we're in healthcare. And see, ask Paul about anesthesia. And everything that you highlighted will show up here so that you can take it. Now watch this. What I can also do is the note that I did, I can write down what I wanted. I can highlight it like that, right click, copy it. Now check this out. I can actually go to my Connect Yard. And if this was you and you wanted to send me a message, you could actually go up here and find me. There I am. And you could actually send me a direct message. Now what that looks like is you just simply put it in there, and then I could paste that message that you wrote, that note that you wrote, and you can literally click post message and actually send that message right there. So I choose the actual yard. It's the Fast Track yard. I take that, right click, paste the message in there, ask Paul about anesthesia, and click post. And there it goes. It will send me an email. It will send you an email. We'll all be connected. I will get the notice. I will come in here and I will answer your question. Okay. So that is a neat feature. It's called Connect Yard. It's built right into the program. All right. You have the full access to the book as well. So this is the book we use. Now over here in the Fast Track, we select certain courses or certain units to use. But here's the book that has everything in it. If you want to peruse through the book, you feel you need to brush up on some things, there's the book for you. So you have full access to the book. Again, you have the glossary, you have the dictionary. You also have, if you have Evernotes, you can actually have access to your Evernotes. You sign up for an Evernote account. If you already have one, they're usually free. So you actually take your notes with you anywhere. So that's a pretty neat account. You also, again, down here you have flashcards, and then of course you have the progress. Now this might not show up because I don't have any students enrolled in this sample class. But if you did, you'd be able to see their progress. So in order for me to be able to show that to you, and I think I've showed you pretty much all the real important features over here on the right, I'm going to show you basically what it looks like in the course. So again, once you log into your program, and I'm kind of going to show you what it looks like from your end if you get in there and you get to see your grades. So you'll get to see your score as you progress through your course. But also, I just want you to know that when you're in the program, I get to see your analytics. Okay, I get to see how you're doing. And if you're doing better than expected, I'll give you a good old kudos. If you're not doing very well, then I might notice something and I might send you a note and say, looks like you're struggling a little bit. Remember, I do this no matter what program we use, whether it's the Ultimate Guide or the Fast Tracks. We monitor that here. So that's really what you're paying for. You're paying for Electrical Code Academy to help you through your process of learning the National Electrical Code or preparing for an exam. Now, if you're in the Ultimate Guide, it is really intense. I mean, I send a lot of messages back and forth to the students, a lot of attachments, and you can do that all within the program itself. No need to do external emails in this program. That's the beauty of it. Another thing is in the Fast Tracks, we constantly monitor. So if you highlight something, you put it in there, you send us a note, we'll help answer that question for you. Maybe you're having a little bit of trouble with a calculation and you don't understand something. While you don't get that one-on-one session, you kind of do because you get that Connect Yard and we interact. You don't get that with any other program out there, any other exam prep program out there, any other detailed course like the Ultimate Guide, which is really an extensive course. It's our premier course. You don't get that benefit with any other program other than these programs through our Electrical Code Academy courses. So that's a neat thing. And we're really excited to partner with Cengage with that. So here you get to see all the analytics. We see our grades. You can monitor your own grades. But I just kind of wanted to show you what you have. So that's pretty much, and here you see this is the Ultimate Guide program. And now we're back in the actual program for our Fast Tracks program. So you do see that there's quizzes, there's unit quizzes, there's competency quizzes, Everything to make sure that you're moving through this information. Now, the thing that is also extremely important here in this Fast Track guide is you have access to the Omega Exam Preparation Exam exclusive portal. So in here, we have our video that shows you how to dissect the root of a question. Real important that you understand how to look at a question and be able to find the best way to get the answer by using the index, table of contents, or certain trigger words. And then you have our professional licensing exam prep. You have the practice and the finals. Now the finals are timed. It's about 2 minutes a question. And you got a bunch of, in our fast track electrical exams, you have tons of these questions. These little practice ones. And they are great. For example, we'll just go into this one for residential. It doesn't matter whether you're taking a residential exam. It logged me out because I think I was sitting there too long. Hold on for a second. It does limit you the time. And I probably got multiples open. Now, it won't limit you the time. It's just limiting me because I've got multiple sessions going on. So let's go down into the Mega again. And I'll show you what it looks like. And we'll just go into this one. Okay, see, so you'll start it. It's ready to go. You click the assessment, and you literally get into it, and it asks you, okay? When exceptions are not considered, and that's kind of like they would do it on an exam, okay? And that's another exam tip for you. You don't consider exceptions unless they tell you they're considered. So most of the time you don't consider the exceptions. But trust me, when you sit down for your exam, they will tell you in the program introduction whether or not exceptions are considered. Always assume copper, things like that, unless they tell you otherwise. Okay, so in this case right here, you'll see you have one of these exam questions. So where exceptions are not considered, electrometallic tubing, EMT, shall be securely fastened within blank feet of each junction box, panel board, or other conduit termination. Okay, so now we're going to go 3. And you'll see that that's correct. But here's the important thing about that is that it also tells you where it is in the code. So if you're in the 14 code and you haven't transitioned to the 17 yet, you can still utilize this program. And again, if you're in the 17, which is what this is really based upon, it'll give you the page that you're on in the National Electrical Code, which is 210 for this reference right here. Okay, then you can continue on to the next one. All right, so it's an extensive program. A lot of times you can pay $200 and $300 just for a collection of 100 to 200 exam questions, and you really get no additional guidance. This, you get unit courses, you get calculations. We teach you the calculations. Oh, let me show you this. This is amazing. This is something that is really unique to Charles Miller. And what he does. And hopefully I didn't time out because, again, I got multiples open because I have students that are working now. But one of the things that he goes into is, check this out. And this is why it's so important. And we're going to go over this with my students in the Ultimate Guide because it's the same concept we're sharing. Is that when we go over all the aspects of every little thing, you will get one of these forms. And these forms walk you through step by step how to do a standard method. And see here, once you start, we'll talk everything about the dwelling unit. And we'll actually break down each step and show you how to do it. Okay? Nobody does that better than Charles Miller. Okay? As far as how he's designed this chart and this stepping, I'm a good friend of Charles. He's an awesome guy. He's the author of this book. That's why I chose to use this book. Not only that, it's just an amazingly put together book. And so what we've done is we've taken the most important aspects of his illustrated guide to the NEC, compressed it into our fast tracks. We've incorporated our podcasts where necessary. We've incorporated our videos where necessary. And it's really a condensed version of our ultimate guide to the NEC. You just don't get the same interaction. But again, with Connect Yard, you really do. I mean, you get to send us questions, and we're here to answer your questions. So you're getting a lot. Okay, so if you really need to understand the foundation of the code and every nuance of the code, then the ultimate guide to the NEC is the one for you. And if you've got 90 days and you can commit each week, and you really have to commit to a couple hours at least each week to do your studies in order to be able to pass by the 90 days and really be beneficial. If you don't have that time, but you want to be able to go in at your own pace and read some of the material and take a lot of the exams, and you don't need the one-on-one, But if you do have a question, you have access to the Connect Yard, then maybe the Fast Tracks is for you. You have multiple options here. Most of the people will choose the Ultimate Guide because it's more intensive and longer, and we have a lot of tutorials and interaction. But that you have to choose which one that you feel more comfortable with. Okay? So at the end of the day, it's all about passing the exam when it comes to the Fast Tracks program. Okay? All right, so last look at the actual software here. You see that all these things, and you'll have what's called review questions. Now, these are pretty neat as well. And what these are is an actual interactive competency test. Okay? It has a bunch of stuff. Look at here. It's even going to give you, this is the kind of stuff that you would see on an exam. So not only do you get, now check this out. Not only do you get the quizzes, but you get competencies to test you. Not only do you get that, unlike others where only give you a small group of questions, you get all of those practice exams at the end, and you get the final exams, 3 of them, and they're timed to help you, understand how to time manage yourself during a test. Okay? All right, so again, this is a unique thing here. Now you can fill in your answer right here, and when you're all done, you simply save it and submit it to me. And you can print it out if you'd rather write it down, and then you can upload it from your computer if you scan it into your computer if you'd rather do that. But it's more easier to just put your code reference here, put your answer here. When you're all done, submit it. If you say that, well, I can't see this and see the book because I need to go back and look something up, well, hopefully you should be looking this stuff up by the National Electrical Code. But if you want access to the full book while you're doing this in that chapter, which is Unit 8, then you can simply go over here and open up the full book. And this will move to the left, and you can go over here, and you can simply go down and go into Chapter 8 and work through any of these things. If you had a question on square footage, here you can open the book, and you can utilize it over here in a split screen. Okay? You can even let it talk to you in this side, too, if that's what you want. So there's just so much to do here, but that's the other thing. See this one here, competency. You notice that this is not just total automation, that when you submit that competency, a real person is going to grade it. Okay? Whether it's me or whether it's Brittany or whether it's Zach or whether it's Jeff, all people that work with me, we're going to grade it. And they're going to grade it because I have the key for them to grade it. Okay? Now, when they mark that you got one wrong, they submit it to me, and then I'm the one that gives you a response explaining why you got it wrong. Okay? So that you can learn from it. You don't get that anywhere else. If you want to pay hundreds of dollars just to get questions and get the answers, but they don't explain to you how we got there, go for it. If you really want an interactive course, then the Fast Tracks is for you. Again, if you want to learn a lot of stuff about the code, then the Ultimate Guide program's for you. But the Fast Track is for those that have a good firm grip on the code, been doing electrical for years. Maybe they're an electrician in another state and they're moving to one other state, a different state, and they won't accept their license for reciprocity. So they got to test again. I had to do that in Virginia. I have been master electrician for many years. When I moved to Texas, I was serving as the expert to the state of Texas for the PSI exam development and for TDLR. But I wanted to get my Texas license. Not that I needed it, but I wanted it. I was considered an expert in the state, so I couldn't take the exam because I helped write the exam. So I had to step away for a couple years. And when I pulled back in 2017, then I had to get special permission from the state in order to be able to sit for the exam. So I went and sat for the exam, and I got my Texas license. So you might happen to you in another state. Wherever you are, we can always brush up on the code. So maybe you have good knowledge, but you just need to work on calculations. Or maybe you're not really good at taking tests. Well, use these practice exams on your phone. Set your timer up for 2 minutes and do those practice exams. And if your buzzer goes off and you still haven't answered it, you know you need to work on it a little bit. Okay? Now, go through all those practice exams and then come down to the final. Then we're already going to put a 2-minute timer on there for you. So you get to time yourself. The practice ones let you take them over and over again. They scramble the questions. It really allows you, by the time you do those, by the time you do the competencies, by the time you do the unit exams or the unit quizzes, then by the time you do the section tests, you're going to know the NEC. Okay? You're going to know enough to put together what your knowledge might already be and be able to pass an exam. Okay? We have a lot of videos, a lot of podcasts integrated into this software. We have, again, the Connect Yard. You can ask us questions anytime. That's a unique feature. Nobody else can say it. You can buy courses, but you can't buy all the features that are here. All right. So anyway, that's the program. We're excited about it. Again, put your answers in there. You can submit it and it will be graded. That's pretty much all we want to talk about now. You will see again that I just wanted to show you that here you'll notice that there is a section test that's going to cover all of this information in 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so that's even another test to test your knowledge. Here, 12, 13, and 14, you have a section test on all of those. But not only that, but inside of 13, you have some more tests. These are the same things that my students are going through right now in the ultimate guide to the National Electrical Code. The only difference in the courses is the interaction, and some of the things that we cover in the ultimate guide, you're not going to get in the fast track. Okay, it's the foundationary stuff. Okay, you're just not going to get it. It's not the same kind of course. It's not as intense. But if you're thinking, I just need to practice, I get these calls all the time. I wish I had access to some code questions. I wish I had a bunch of them that I could just take them, and learn. Okay, then the fast tracks is for you. Okay, if you're already a master electrician and you need to get your master's license in another state and you just want to brush up on it, this is the perfect course for you, because we have not only the brush up stuff on calculation, but also you get all those exam questions, okay? And they're graded instantly. And then, of course, you have the competency ones, which we will grade, and we will give you feedback on those things. It's a no-brainer, man. All right, guys, that's it. I just wanted to introduce y'all to the Fast Tracks program. If you're interested in our Ultimate Guide to the NEC, which is a 90-day course, it's much more intensive and with a lot more interaction in actually one-on-ones each week, where we actually do for 2 hours. We talk about the code. I go over little presentations. I have other PowerPoints that I use, but we also cover the past week's topics. And I answer questions. If you want that, then that's the one for you, the Ultimate Guide. If you already know the code fairly good, you feel like you're comfortable with it, maybe you feel like you test bad and you need that extra boost of confidence, and you just want to go over the steps to calculations a little bit better, I can tell you right now, there's no other program that covers calculations for 1 and 2 family dwellings, the optional and the standard method, or the multifamily, than this program. I promise you. I can say it hands down because I've had a hand in a lot of courses out there. So hopefully you're interested in it. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at info. That's INFO. You can follow the ticker down here on the screen. It's INFO at masterthenec.com. Again, INFO at masterthenec.com. I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions you might have. So until next time, folks, stay safe. God bless.